It is the start of a new week, and my goal this week is to read my library books that I have out at the moment. There are four of them, three physical reads, well, two physical reads and an ebook, but I kind of count ebooks as physical reads, and then an audiobook. Last vlog, I started reading The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monika Kim. I haven't gotten too far into it yet. I'm only at page 62. It's kind of slow so far. I'm not hating it, but I'm also not loving it. It's a bit slow-paced, and I don't know. I'm still gonna finish it to give it a chance and all, but so far, it's a bit mid. But it could also just be that I'm not used to the way that thrillers and how they're written work, because this is one of the first ever thrillers I've read. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. I have just finished reading The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monika Kim. This book, I'm gonna give it a 2-star. I think the premise was really good. I liked the idea of this female serial killer developing her habit, kind of, and that psychological thriller aspect of it. And I do think that this book was really strong in its descriptive language surrounding Ji-won's fixation on eyes and like eating them. It made me a little bit queasy sometimes. So I think it did really do that aspect of the novel well. I don't think the execution of it really felt authentic to me. Granted, I don't know what serial killer experience is like, so maybe authentic isn't the term to use there. It just first seemed to be going too slowly, and then it seemed to go too fast with the devolvement of, we go like a good 20% without a mention, really, of her fixation. Then she starts to develop it, and then all of a sudden it's just there full throttle. I don't know how I feel about some of the other plot aspects of this, too. Overall, I think the execution of her devolvement as a serial killer, and also some of the other aspects of the plot, like Jeffrey, just, they weren't executed well enough for me to be like, this organically makes sense to be happening. It felt more like they needed to be there for the plot. And I don't really understand how Ji-won's like first two kills happened. I thought I had an idea of how they worked, but no, a dead body just kind of turns up and she decides to try out a man's eye. And that doesn't make sense to me beyond, well, obviously she had to get access to this in order for her devolvement to continue. Just, I think that this book had a really strong premise and potential. I just don't think that it executed it to the fullest extent possible. So, sadly, a 2-star for me. I think for the rest of this evening, I don't know if I'm gonna start my next book this evening. I think I need a little bit of a reading break, watch some shows to kind of refresh my mind after finishing that. But the next book that I'm going to be starting either tonight or tomorrow is The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. This is a murder mystery where Martha, who is a midwife, was called in to do a body examination, which don't know why a midwife was asked to do that, but okay. She's called in to do a body examination, and she determines that it was homicide, but the people in town don't believe her and decide to just rule it as a freak accident or something. And so Martha is left to investigate this murder by herself. I think this is going to be a very interesting read. It's one of the books that I'm reading for Readathon this month. So, yeah, I might try to solve the mystery as I go along with this, but I probably won't be very successful because mysteries aren't my usual genre. But we'll see. I will try and give you guys an update once I've started it. Hopefully before I'm at like the halfway mark, but we'll see when I check in next. All right, it is Thursday evening now, and I am about halfway through The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I did not fully understand what this book was about when I gave you a description of it earlier, so I will give you a little bit of an amended version. So Martha, our main character, is a midwife, and she is caught up in a case of an acquaintance of hers was assaulted by two powerful men in the village, and they are trying to get these men to be held accountable, and then one of them turns up dead. And so it's mostly about getting the remaining man to be held accountable for his actions, while also accusations and threats are getting thrown around surrounding the murder of the other man. And this book is really good so far. I know that a book is well written and well executed when it evokes actual emotions within me. And this book makes me so angry about the way that the law is working against these women and what these women have to put up with, both within this specific case and also with other cases of women being oppressed or judged for things that men have done to or with them, and they get off scot-free. And the anger that it is able to ignite in me because of the relatability and the fact that we still have to deal with this as women to this day. It's a very good book so far, and I need this man to be brought to justice. Whether that be in a court of law or via murder, I don't care. I just need justice. So, I'm gonna keep reading to get my justice, and I will see you guys when I finish. Alright, I have just finished reading The Frozen River. I think I'm gonna give this book 5 stars. Yeah, I was debating a little bit on if I think it's really worth 5 stars, but yeah, this is a 5-star read for me. The portrayal of womanhood that this book provides is just so timeless. The book is set like right after the American Revolution, basically, but so much of it I feel can apply to the modern day. And I, at times, felt such genuine anger and unfairness about what was happening in this book. And when justice was finally served, while not to its fullest possible extent, it was extremely satisfying. So this book is a 5-star for me, though it is not exactly what I was expecting when I was first getting into it. I thought that it was going to be a bit more of a mystery than what it actually was, but I honestly think that the way that it was written and the story that it wanted to tell was better than what I would have gotten if I was correct in what I thought it was about at the start. So, The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon is a 5-star for me. Next, I'm going to be listening to an audiobook that I have from the library, and that is Hench by Natalie Zena Walshots. This book is about a woman who has worked as kind of like a villain's henchman before, but during one of her jobs, a superhero gravely injured her and left her with a disability of some kind. I'm unclear on what the exact disability is based just off of the summary. And now she is determined to bring some justice for the collateral damage and the victims of that collateral damage that occur with superhero battles. And I believe that she teams up with a villain to achieve this goal and get some justice. A lot of female power in the 3 books that I've read this week. But you know what? I am here for it. So I'm going to start listening to that, and I will give you guys an update later. Hey, it is now, Sunday evening-ish. It's like that sweet spot between the afternoon and the evening. So, Sunday evening, I have just finished listening to the audiobook for Hench by Natalie Zena Walshots. I meant to give you like a halfway update, but this is a busy weekend for me. Yesterday I had a concert that I was performing in. Then today I have some homework that I still need to get done for my classes. And also I have a date tonight. First date. Kind of nervous about it. But I did finish the audiobook this weekend, and it is a solid 5 stars for me. I'm starting to think I give out 5 stars too easily. Like, I'm thinking about how many I've actually, like, given the past 2 months, and it's been like 4 or 5. I'm starting to think I give out my 5 stars too liberally, but might have to reassess them later. But for now, Hench is a 5 star from me. I think the main aspect of this that I enjoyed was the fact that it is unrepentantly about villains. I feel like a lot of times in fantasy settings and stuff where the villain is actually like the good guy or the love interest, it turns out, no, they're not really the villain, they're just like misunderstood and misrepresented to the public. But in Hench, they are villains. Yes, maybe there are a couple of good intentions underlying their actions, but their actions are monstrous. They do get people killed and are essentially torture. So I really enjoyed that it's like unrepentantly villainous, and that was the main selling aspect for me and giving it a 5 star. I also think that it incorporated some really good moments of humor and the idea of how you would have to fit in superheroing with like actual jobs and the kind of co-working spaces that that would lead to. I think it's a very good read with a little bit of politics in it, a lot of humor, and just you're there for a good time and to read a book about a woman finding some justice for herself. With all the things that I still need to do tonight, I doubt that I will be starting it today, but tomorrow I'm going to be starting my next read, which is In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. So I will try to get you guys a halfway update, or at least a before I finish update for this one. But yeah, wish me luck tonight, and I will see you later. Alright, it's good to be back in my normal home shooting setup. I haven't looked at yesterday's footage, but it's probably very shaky and not gonna be doing that again, I can tell you that much. It is Monday now, and I am a little bit over 50% of the way through In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. This is a memoir about how Yeonmi and her family fled North Korea in her childhood and what she has gone through in that experience. It is a very heavy book. It depicts what life was like for her in North Korea with poverty and famine, and what it was like under the North Korean government. And I'm now in the section about how she fled to China, which is heartbreaking because it involves a lot of human trafficking and the lengths that these people are willing to go to and put up with for the sake of leaving one horrible place and ending up in another, but that they, in their minds, are able to justify because at least it's a little bit better than where they started. It's brutal, but I think it's important to know these kinds of stories and know what is happening and what these real people are experiencing and going through, because they need to have a voice. That we need to know what North Korea does to them and what is happening in this world around us. There's so many horrible things happening in the world, and I'm sure, as much as I wish it were the case, I'm sure Yeonmi Park's story isn't unique. And I think it's important to know that these issues exist and to know how they started and how we got to this point so that we can work to solve the issue as much as that is within our capabilities. It is a very good book so far, and I think I might be able to power through most of it the rest of today, if not all of it. But I will give you that update either tonight or tomorrow morning. I have just finished reading In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. This memoir was so beautiful. Okay, first, something that I can quantify, I guess. This is definitely a 5-star from me. I think it so beautifully encaptures the cruelty of the world, but also the good things that can happen and that still occur. And things aren't black and white, as this book portrays things in a shade of gray, as opposed to a black and white way of thinking that the North Korean government attempted to impose on Yeonmi in her youth. It's just very bittersweet in that it's a good ending for Yeonmi, but there are still so many people in North Korea and other parts of the world that are still suffering through similar things to what Yeonmi experienced. I think that this memoir is something everyone should read. I think it's important to understand other people's stories and understand what is happening in the world outside of yourself in order to be the best version you can be. I don't know, I'm very emotional after just finishing this. So hopefully this part of the video makes sense and doesn't seem like emotional rambling. Moving on from that, the final book that I'm going to be reading in this reading vlog is Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne. This is very lighthearted compared to not only the memoir that I just finished, but also a lot of the other things that I've read this week. Can't Spell Treason Without T is a cozy fantasy about a lesbian couple. One of them is a powerful witch and the other was a queen's knight, but the knight is ready to retire and so they're going to set up a tea shop, except the queen isn't happy about losing her favorite knight. So I think there's going to be a touch of politics, fantasy politics, but it is a cozy fantasy explicitly, so I'm hoping that it won't get too deep, because you know what, I need some emotional recovery after all of the feminine rage and deep hitting books that I've read this week. So I'm going to be starting that tonight, and hopefully I'll be able to finish it tomorrow so that it won't bleed over into my next vlog, but we'll see. I will give you guys an update, probably not tonight. Probably you'll get an update tomorrow after I finish it. We'll see. We'll see. All right, it is now the end of my day on Tuesday. I need to edit this video together, so I'm probably not going to do much reading tonight with having to do that on top of school responsibilities. Ugh. I am about 15% of the way through Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne. It's a very fun read so far, and I'm looking forward to getting more into it as Reina and Keontae begin to set up their shop. But for now, I will leave you all with the books that I have read this week, and will give you my completed review of Can't Spell Treason Without T in next week's reading vlog. I will catch you guys later. Bye!